Hello, Real Vision people. This is Sebastian Moonjava, and today we have Daniel Jonsson, the CEO of GreenBlocks. How you doing, Daniel?
Hi, Sebastian. Doing great over here. Thanks.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to talk a little bit about crypto mining. Let's start off first with a little bit about your background. How did you even get into crypto in the first place, and then what led you to the mining space?
Yeah, my journey, I guess. My background is in tech. I started out as a systems administrator a good few years back. Got some, Microsoft certification, and throughout the years traveled a bit, lived abroad, and so throughout my career, I have a fairly solid career in tech. I worked for Dell in Ireland, amongst others. And after coming back to Iceland, I kind of shifted gears a little bit and went I'd heard about Bitcoin throughout the years, obviously, but I never really dove in. I'm not going to say unfortunately, because here we are. I think everything happens for a reason. But so through so I took on a kind of a sales, more of a sales consultant role at the biggest IT services company here in Iceland called Advania. And they at that time had a sister company called Advania Data Centers. And this they have rebranded to At North today. But so at this time, this is 2016, things are kind of heating up. And I just kind of see the buzz around, like the bulk of the business at this data center is mining. I had some visibility over what was happening there, and early 2017, I can just see things are getting crazy. And so that's kind of what grabbed my interest in it. That's the way I kind of went in. I started reading up on mining particularly, and mining just really fascinated me. Once I understood the concepts behind proof of work and what is truly happening, that it's not just printing money. That's kind of what got me, and I just went, like so many people, straight down this rabbit hole. And I've been on, so since early 2017, this has pretty much all of my brain space.
So if I'm understanding correctly, you started off working at a place with data centers, and then you started to see, oh, a lot of this activity is picking up. So your interest actually in crypto started with mining. You didn't even start with like the speculative side. You started with, hey, this is a really interesting industry. Is that sound correct?
Absolutely. I mean, it is a bit weird how it passed me by, because we had, I don't know if you remember the Aurora coin experiment,
Yeah.
which was done here in Iceland. So around 2014, someone created Aurora coin and basically did an airdrop to the Icelandic nation. So if you had an Icelandic like social security ID, everybody got it. And I didn't even participate in that. I just sailed past it, and I don't know why. I don't remember even giving it that much thought at the time. But this just passed me by, and yeah. But like, once I truly understood the mining side, I was just absolutely fascinated by it. Very quickly ordered my first ASIC, couple of ASICs that I set up and started dabbling with, but yeah, that really took my first true steps in crypto by mining Bitcoin.
Yeah, so let's start off with like maybe like a very high overview of like what is mining anyways. And you mentioned ASICs. I would love it if you can give us like an explanation of what ASICs are as well. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a ton of material out there already that really breaks this down well. So I'll try maybe not to get too technical, but so Bitcoin is created through these blocks. And to solve a block, we need hash power. So basically, a new block of Bitcoin is created every 10 minutes, and within the block, there are transactions. So if I send Bitcoin to you, that there's a transaction that's created. And so it's not just the process of creating new Bitcoin, it is the process of servicing the Bitcoin network and ensuring its safety. And that's a feature. I mean, the size of it and the power use of it, it is a feature. It's not a flaw. But so yeah, essentially you have computers. And initially when Bitcoin started off, you could do this on your laptop. I mean, it's so funny to go on forums like Bitcoin Talk, and you see these guys going, well, I'm down to, 10 Bitcoin a day. I'm going to turn my PC off now. But so people were just turning on their laptops and they would mine. That's the computational power that the network needed. It was so small at the time that you could mine a lot of Bitcoin. And initially you got 50 BTC per block. So as it evolves, more people get into it. People start figuring out, listen, we can use GPUs to do this. And as soon as they start turning on the GPUs, the laptops and computers and basically CPU mining just becomes obsolete, because it's a whole new paradigm. The GPUs are so much more powerful that as soon as this is discovered, the last era of CPU mining is just out. So GPU mining takes over, and then lastly, what happens is you have this technology, these ASICs, that we call them ASICs, and that stands for application-specific integrated circuit. So it's basically a piece of equipment that consists mainly of these chips, and the chips are specifically made for the algorithm you're going to mine on. So in the case of Bitcoin, it's SHA-256. If you make a chip that's going to mine SHA-256, it's not going to mine anything else. You're not going to flip that over and just mine Ethereum on it. That's the only thing this chip does. But since it's specifically made for that, it's immensely powerful. And so these, what we call ASICs, are just really simple. If you Google ASIC, it's the first thing that you'll find. Really simple aluminum kind of rectangles that have 3 hash boards in them, and each hash board, it's almost like a motherboard, but it's just densely set with chips. Mm-hmm. And on the front you have a fan, and on the back you have a fan, and then you have a small controller on top and a power supply. It's like a small computer. It doesn't really look like a computer, but it's a really, from a hardware standpoint, it's a simple piece of equipment. But this is, so as soon as this piece of technology comes into existence, the GPUs are out.
Yeah. So to make sure I'm understanding, and to elaborate for the audience as well, is that in the beginning it required very minimal compute power, right? In the very beginning, it was very low, but then as it becomes more competitive, the low level compute that is provided by a laptop is now kind of priced out. It's basically costing you too much money to mine in the beginning.
Well, it's not that it requires a low amount of computational power. It's more that that's where the playing field is set at. So if the only tech, it's always going to run on the most powerful tech available. So if all we know is how to mine on CPUs, then it's just going to be a race to who has the most powerful and the most CPUs. And those are the people that are going to gain the most from it. And as more people jump in, the gains are essentially lower, because there's only one pie. We're all just dividing the same pie. But as soon as someone gets an edge, as soon as someone figures out we can use GPUs for this, and then that's an arms race. Everybody's just going, we need all the GPUs. Since the GPUs are so much more powerful than the CPUs, your laptop is all of a sudden only returning you, 1 BTC a day, and so you're turning it off at that time. So it's more that the playing field as a whole is taking the next step, and then everyone goes to that level. It's not really because the Bitcoin network has no specific power. You can't really say that it has a requirement of a certain amount of computational power. It's more we move it because it's profitable to mine at a certain level. So we keep pushing it. We keep pushing it further. And as this is why, logically, as the price of Bitcoin goes up, the hash rate and the level of difficulty on the network goes up.
And that's making it more secure, right? Over the time, Bitcoin is tremendously more secure than it was in the beginning. Is that correct? Do you believe that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. This is a feature, and it's beautiful. I mean, as the network grows, as more people use it, as more money flows into the ecosystem, it automatically becomes more secure. And I think that's hugely important in the popularity that we are seeing and the adoption that we are seeing with Bitcoin. I don't think we would be seeing these massive institutions, Tesla making a buy for 1.5 billion and so on, if this wasn't the most secure computer network in the world.
Hey, if you like this clip, be sure to like and subscribe for more crypto-related content. Also, be sure to check out the full interview and more only on realvision.com/crypto.